Welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate 0. In the last episode, Rintaro Okabe and Suzuha Mane were at a bit of a stalemate with Dr. Judy Reyes, who was attempting to use Kaguri Shina as her means of finally acquiring the time machine theory held in the memories of Kurisu Makase. Eventually, however, Dr. Reyes realized that she could probably have saved herself so much time by actually downloading the memories into her own consciousness. Fortunately for us, our trusty super hacker Daru was able to erase the memories of Kurisu's digital self from March of 2010, thus leaving Judy Reyes absolutely empty-handed and ultimately empty-minded. And yet, as it turns out, we may have had a bit of a hand in the form of Amadeus Kurisu herself. Because if you remember, Rintaro asked her a question not so long ago about whether she would sacrifice herself for people that she considers friends. And it seems like she did everything in her power to keep the memories of Kurisu Makase from being used for nefarious purposes. But Kaguri is safe, Rintaro and Suzuha are both alive and well. DURPA's plans, as well as those of Stratfor, will come to nothing because Kurisu's memories have now been erased from their database thanks to Daru. And as celebration for their ultimate triumph, Hououin Kyouma has revitalized the Future Gadget Laboratory and added 3 new members to the mix: Maho Hyajo, Kaguri Shina, and Yuki Amane, of all people. Of course, Morika is still a member of the Future Gadget Lab, even though she's not technically affiliated with them on the beta worldline, and Kurisu Makase is still dead. But the number 4 slot will forever be in her name. And that brings us to the present, December 2011. A whole 10 months after the events of the 2nd February. And of course it's Sunday. What a great day to relax. Akihabara. Still the same. A year after all the chaos, Maho visited the Future Gadget Lab for the first time in a long while. Whether or not our actions have averted World War III in its entirety, we may never know yet. But that at this point, at this moment in time and causality, life continues on as normal. And Maho Hyajo has arrived. And with that, you have been formally been brought into the lab. And I take it most, if not all, of the remaining lab members are gathered here and present. Doesn't look like there have been any more tamperings with the worldline. Probably shouldn't have pointed that out, Suzuha. She's still a bit sore on that. Exactly the kind of joke that Kurisu would make. seems like Kaguya is a bit of a late sleeper.
どうしたの？この一年、真帆さんに会えなくて寂しかったよ。
Or maybe that she's just glad that Maho's back.
ちょっと、そんな抱きつかなくても。だって。
And yet something tells me that Kaguya is acting too familiar with, being overly familiar with, Maho.
ごめん。本当は夏にも来たかったんだけど、大学の方でもいろいろあって。
Hopefully that's just my imagination. But a lot has happened. The events of last January had left deep scars on Maho's lab. Of course they had. How could they not? Not only was Amadeus involved, but many people in the college, including Dr. Reyes, had been involved as well. It is not very good news for the Brain Science Institute.
遠いところ、よく来てくれた、真帆。
当たり前よ。私だっていろいろと関わってきたんだもの。この目で見届けるのが務めだわ。
We will accept those words with all grace.
でも、本当にいいのか？この一年の後処理が無駄になるんだぞ。
Probably another, sore subject there, Rintaro.
無駄になんてならないわよ。第一、この世界の未来が過去につながるって言ったのはあなたでしょ？だから私はこの世界で私がすべきことをやっただけよ。
So it seems like, Maho Hyajo is going to go her separate ways.
ああ、そうだったな。
Which is probably for the best. I was supposed to die in 2025, but I was alive. Everyone had been fooled. The past me, everyone in the future. The worldline itself had been deceived. I thought the future was certain, but instead I found a future that I didn't expect. So wouldn't I be able to deceive the world too? And by doing so, avoid the future that awaited us in 2036. And if I could deceive the world, maybe I could at last find Steins Gate. But how to do so, unfortunately, was beyond me right now. But the future me had said, according to future Daru, that is.
シュタインズゲート世界線への道は険しい。一度や二度やり直したところでたどり着ける道ではないだろう。けれど、まずはそこから始めることがシュタインズゲートへとつながるんじゃないか。いくつもの未来の先が過去へとつながっているんじゃないか。11だからさ。僕たちがいるこの世界も無駄じゃない。きっと必要な世界なんだ。少なくとも今の僕はそう思ってる。
Sorry, I occasionally keep cutting people off in mid-sentence. I really have to stop being so impatient and let people talk. But we need to find our anchor, our starting point. Many futures, all connected to the past. That meant there was only one thing for me to do.
橋田さん、例のものはちゃんとできたの？
もちろん、もう使えるはずだお。
It seems we have a plan in mind. An old microwave sitting in the back of the development room. Future gadget number 8. It was the time leap machine that Maho had helped finish. Daru had added a new function to it.
それにしてもこんなものが世界の命運を握っていたなんてね。
Indeed it is. I think that is the new function that, or the device that will give the time leap machine its new function. That's right. Everything began here, with this device. Our fate and Kurisu's had all been ruined by this device. The one difference between this and the old PhoneWave TBA was that this was connected to a smartphone, not an old featured phone. It's amazing to believe that ordinary run-of-the-mill cell phones are now a thing of the past and everyone else has smartphones these days. Text messages to the past would be detected by SERN, no matter what I did, thanks in part, or in most part, to their infamous Echelon mining database, which meant that we'd become a target. And not only that, we would ultimately shift back to the Alpha worldline if we sent a conventional D-mail. We'd be returning to the worldline in which Mayuri Shina will constantly die and Kurisu will be left in her place. That would mean taking this world that I'd gained only at the cost of sacrificing Kurisu right back to where we started, back to square one. There would be no point in that. But there were other ways to communicate now, beyond simple text messages. There were other ways to send messages now. The software we use now, Rhine, was one of them.
名付けて D ラインってとこかな。
Nah, you just took D-mail and just added Rhine into it, but whatever. Of course, the idea of using the electrons in the CRT television in the Brawn Tube workshop to control gravity and create a singularity to send the message back in time was essentially the same. Singularity, used to denote the astrophysics term gravitational singularity. This refers to a place where gravity is infinite. However, the existence of such a singularity is only theoretical, and since the inside of a gravitational singularity would be impossible to observe, cannot be proven. A black hole singularity is the point created by a gravitational collapse of a star that has reached the end of its life. You can think of it as all the matter in a star with a radius of several million kilometers compressed down into a single space smaller than the period at the end of the sentence. But it looks like we have another means to change the past and alter the future. And the amount we could send was still 18 characters, same as the conventional D-mail, but we didn't have to worry about CERN finding it. We didn't have to worry about Mayuri being killed. The only problem was that we couldn't send messages back to before we started using Rhine, but there was nothing I could do about that. The most important thing to do right now was to make it possible. So we've found a small loophole.
まったくどこにも補足されないようになんて注文つけるから結構大変だったのだぜ。
Of course, there is no way to know whether or not we will end up receiving it at this very point in time.
抜け穴見つけるのにめっちゃ時間かかったんだからな。
We've got CERN, Stratfor and DURPA now to worry about, and more besides. He complained, but he pulled it off anyway.
さすがだ。My favorite right arm.
And fellow super hacker Labmem.
あ、何気に懐かしい響き。
Glad someone's happy that Hououin Kyouma has returned. And Mahu is still
で
skeptical,
もオ
however.
カリ本当にいいの？
To be honest, I'm not sure. However, I believe that sending this D-Rhine may have a different outcome compared to sending a D-Mail.
そうだにゃ。またそのことでキョウマが辛い思いをするんじゃないのかにゃ。
It may very well do that.
かもしれないな。
だったら
However,
でもそれでも俺はやらなければならない。
this D-Marine could very well be the first step on our road to Steins Gate. At long last,
オカリンさん。
in spite of the risks that are involved. And even Suzuha is wary about this. The Third World War was going to happen unless I could stop it. Kagui and Suzuha's presence made that obvious. There was only one future that lay before us. A future that we spent so much of our time running away from until we were forced to confront it firsthand. But it was another piece of the path that would lead us to Steins Gate. To get there, I would have to go into the past and start over. It would be fine. I was capable of starting over as many times as I needed to now. After all, we've started over countless times in the past. I could overcome anything, finally. Until I reached the promised door. I already had the message I was going to send. Sending that message must have been why I'd come to this worldline in the first place. Of course, I didn't know what I'd think or what I'd do when I received it. Or even if we would receive it, for that matter. But I knew I would be successful. I would lead us to another future and to another past.
かがりさん、不安ですか？
I think everyone is nervous at this point, Ruka.
だってもし過去が変わって平和な時代が来たらママと出会えなくなっちゃうかもしれない。
Even if you no longer see Mayuri, Kaguri Shina, at least you will most likely have your real parents.
かがりちゃん。
But who knows? Anything is certainly possible at this point.
心配ない。アトラクタフィールド理論では起こるべきものは必ず起こる。そう決まっている。
If worldline convergence has dictated that Mayuri and Kaguri will end up meeting each other, then that's what will happen. After all, between the Alpha and Beta world lines and the other myriad world lines in between, we are still together.
世界線が変わろうと君はマユリに出会うはずだ。
本
Even if the two of you never remember each other, you might still end up meeting each other regardless.
ああ、俺が保証する。
But can we really promise that much?
当よかったね、かがりちゃん。オカリンが保証してくれたら安心だよ。未来でもきっと会おうね。
I'm sure we'll all see each other again in the future. But only if this works. It's a long shot, but why the hell
おじさん、
not?
ありがとう。
It seems like Suzuha is finally grateful to Rintaro.
礼を言われることじゃない。もともとは俺がまいた種だ。
We've run from this for far too long, but no longer. And this is where things got really hard.
それでも言わせて。ありがとう。
We should be the one thanking you. Because without you, the Hououin Kyouma would not be reborn.
父さんにも please.
This is hardly the time, Hack.
父さんもありがとう。
But she does it anyway.
もっと上目遣いで目をうるうるさせて言っておくれ、マイドーター。
Don't push your luck, though. When the past changed, everything I'd done in the past year would be undone. All the futures I'd experienced and all the time that it took me to come back would go away too. But they wouldn't go to waste. I was here now, and in the past I was just about to begin my work. And then the future lay beyond. When all those lives came together, the door to the future would be waiting. Steins Gate would be waiting.
では行くぞ。鳳凰院京馬の名において、これより新たなるオペレーションヘルヘイムを開始する。ラボメン全員準備はいいか。
And so, the latest operation of the Future Gadget Lab begins. To find the way there, I would change the past again.
Okie dokie.
Let the operation commence. Kurisu, so that someday we can be together once more. And there is the D-Rhine, mad scientist. Deceive the world, connect the possibilities. The world can be tricked. And thus the D-Rhine has been sent back into the past. And that was the ending of the promised Renacimento. I still have no idea quite how to pronounce it. But hope has returned to Rintaro Okabe and the Future Gadget Laboratory, and the first step on the road to Steins Gate has finally been unlocked. Of course, now it is up to the past Rintaro Okabe to take that first step with the D-Rhine that has been sent back in time. And at that moment, Rintaro Okabe is still a struggling college, university student, and the titan known as Hououin Kyouma is currently still sleeping beneath the waves of Riley, waiting until the day that he is awoken once again. So our journey is not yet over, but for the first time, things are finally looking up for Rintaro and the Future Gadget Laboratory, and maybe we can finally reach the elusive worldline Steins Gate at long last. A future in which World War III will never come to pass, will finally be prevented, and all the tragedy that we have experienced up to this point will also have never taken place. But our adventure is not over yet. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers of all ages, there is still much work to be done for this miracle to be made a reality. Still, there are a few more untrod paths in the far future to be walked upon. But Hououin Kyouma shall tread them brazenly and dominantly as always. And then maybe, just maybe, Rintaro Okabe can find the peace that he has been searching for since this all began. Achievement unlocked. Promised Rinascimento. D-Rhine was sent. Promised Rinascimento completed. New item was added to CG library and new wallpaper. Saving system data. Please do not turn off the system. But as I just said, our journey is far from over. Indeed, the real work begins now. So when we return, adventurers, we shall go back to the Rintaro Okabe in the past, and guide him forward into the future that has been created for him by none other than his alter ego, Hououin Kyouma. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.